how we do. Return to the noise is how we do. How we do. You know it's how we do.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Crown Peach Show. I'm your host Chris, and I am excited not only to have a female in studio with me, but Miss Rae Lashea. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. You know, you came highly recommended from a good friend of ours, Nelson. He said, you got to have this girl on. You got to talk about this and talk about that. She's great. And you're also going to be with us later on for a He Said, She Said episode, right?
Yes, excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
First, let's talk about you and the books that you've written, because there's multiple books, correct?
Yeah.
So, when did you know you wanted to be a writer?
Ever since I was a little girl, like in elementary school, and I give a lot of credit to my teachers, public education in Brooklyn, New York. But, you know, they always had us reading and writing and keeping journals and diaries and things like that. And not only did I enjoy writing, but I also could come up with good stories, and I realized I was good at it. So,
plus, it's free therapy, right, girl? Not that we need it. We're perfect. We don't need therapy.
Right.
Just kidding. I kind of do. But it's good to get it out, you know, and put it onto paper. And I think that having a good imagination helps too, correct?
Yeah, and again, reading stories helped with like just learning the right punctuation, the right sentence structure, but getting lost in those worlds, getting to know those characters, and then I'm able to do that for myself.
Yeah. Have you ever read a book and then seen the movie and been disappointed?
Oh goodness, what is that movie? First Wives Club.
Oh,
and
yes,
I read the book, loved it, and then I saw the movie, and it was good, but
all right, yeah, you're like, my imagination is better. Yeah. There's a couple movies, I won't say any names because I want to be friends with them, but there's a couple I've read all the books, and then I saw the movies, and I was like, not what I expected. Do you know what I mean? They ruined it.
But you know what? When I write books, I write with the idea of having a film made from the book.
Ooh, girl.
And I have actually taken a book and changed it into a script, and you do have to change some things in order to make it more friendly for the screen or just more doable. Like if they're on a yacht in the book, we might put them on a canoe for the film. You know, there's a budget.
Yeah, there's a budget. I love that. You're like, we're going to change it up just a little bit. It's a rented yacht now.
Right,
funny.
Yeah,
So what was the first book you read? The first book you wrote?
The first book I wrote was Black Geisha, which is an erotica novel, partially based on a true story of a young woman.
Wait, back up. Did you say partially based on a true story?
Yes.
Ooh, so did you take that true story and just make it juicier?
Yes, and no one knows what's real and what's not, and I like to leave it that way because the few times I've told people, they were disappointed in what they thought was real and wasn't, and what they thought was fake and was real. So, but yeah, it's partially based on my life, and it's Julie Flowers, who starts off in New York, bored, broke, college student, and who learns about the secret, sexy life of swingers. Ooh. And she becomes a swing party hostess, then gets caught up in a tumultuous world of like drugs, sex, money, leaves to get out of that, goes to LA.
Okay, we gotta go because I'm gonna go read this book right now. Girls,
it's a great read. Goes to LA to get out of that life, finds herself wrapped back up in similar situations. So
wow. Ooh, I'm like, what's true, what's not?
And that was actually written under my pen name, Rachel Blaze.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so how many pen names do you have?
So I went from Rachel Blaze as the erotica novel to Rachel BB for my children's book because I wanted to keep that very separate from my students when I was a teacher, searching me and finding Black Geisha.
Yeah.
So I just was Rachel BB, which was like Rachel Bullard Blaze, my last name, and you know. And then I finally settled on Rae, short for Rachel, Lashea, my middle name, and published 52 Weeks of Miracles and the newest book, Hot Tea and Mercy, under that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so which one was your favorite writing?
Wow. 52 Weeks of Miracles was the most challenging because I took the word miracles and created 52 acronyms, never using the same word twice, to create like a meditative, reflective journal for people to use. So that one was fun and challenging, but this one was my favorite to write because I really took the time to bounce back and forward, different characters, different time frames, and so I had to like focus and figure out, okay, who's next, what's next, and keep it in order. So this one was the most fun for me.
I really thought you were going to say Black Geisha, but was that the funnest to research? Maybe? I'm just saying.
Yeah, that one was effortless. Because it was partially based on my life, I started writing. I wrote every day for 3 months.
Wow.
And there were times when it just kind of flowed, like something took over, and I was just going. Like I could lay down and keep typing, and really just got it out. And a lot of people said, it seemed like a cathartic experience because I was able to get out that part of my life and then move on. So it was an important,
and then close that chapter.
Yeah, it was an important work for me, but it wasn't my best, and now it's not my favorite.
And now it's not your favorite because you've moved on to other things.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So tell me a bit about Hot Tea and Mercy and the process.
Oh, that's a good question.
Sometimes I have those. Sometimes I have good questions.
Oh no, these are great questions. Hot Tea and Mercy takes the lives of 8 women and the people who surround them, but they're all intertwined under one Dr. Marianella Merced, who is a psychiatrist, and she charges a pretty penny for her expertise, but her own life is unraveling right before her eyes, and so she has to figure out how to get that back in order or stop thinking that she's good to tell other people how to live theirs.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah,
because how are you going to give advice when your stuff's falling apart? How are you going to be there for people and help them manage their life when yours is the hot mess?
Yeah,
I feel that way every day.
Every day. And as women, we do that so much. We can help our friends, our parents, our children.
We give the best advice, right?
Right. And then if we ever stop to look at our lives, it's like cookie crumbs.
Exactly right. Ooh, girl, don't listen to me. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's true. Every day I'm pouring cereal for my grandson. How did we make it through yesterday? You know what I mean? Every day is oh my God, don't follow me. Don't follow me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I've already dug into it. I've already started reading it. And that's the first thing I told Rae on the phone. So I said, ooh, I love how it just flows to the next person, but where they're part of their life. You know what I mean? It just flows. You don't have to go back. There's some books we have to go back and figure out, wait, what just happened here?
Right.
This is just so flowy.
Yeah.
And juicy at the same time. Because each chapter you're getting deeper and deeper into the doctor. What was her name again? I'm sorry.
Marianella Merced.
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
But we call her Dr. Nella.
Dr. Nella.
Yeah.
I love that. So, how long did it take for you to write this one?
So this took about 8 months. And the problem, not really a problem, but was life. My life wasn't conducive to writing every day at the time. So I wrote some and then stopped. And when you stop, sometimes it can get really hard to get back in.
Yeah.
And if you take 2 months to get back in, you now need to read from the beginning to where you left off, just to remember what happened and where you need to go from there. And so it was on and off for 8 months before I finally finished, and then another year before I published it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It's you'll lose, the mojo too. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The fire for that particular story.
Right.
Is there any part of the day that's more, creative for you?
Nighttime. I've always been a night owl. Even my mother used to work nights, and I would stay up until she left for work, and when everyone else was asleep.
Yeah.
And so that's always been a time. And I like to take naps during the day too.
You're a napper.
Yes.
So you brought up your mom. How does she feel about you being a writer?
She loves it.
Does she?
She also has no idea what that means sometimes. I'm like, I have a book. She's like, what?
Yeah.
And
I have 5.
And then one day she says, you've always been different.
You're like, you just noticed?
Right. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah. Different is good, girl.
Yeah.
Different is so good.
Yeah. But
she's supportive.
She's very supportive. In fact, when I did Black Geisha, now remember, this is sex and sultry.
And how long ago was that? Did you write that?
That was just about 15 years ago.
Okay.
Yes. And so I was young 20s, and it, first book, lots of cursing in there, lots of everything that shouldn't be in there. And my mom took a big promo poster and plastered it on her locker at the U.S. Postal Service.
I love that. Super supportive.
And when I found that, I said, you can take that down.
You're like, Mom, stop, Mom.
For your own sake, you know?
Yeah, your mom, read it cover to cover first before you put that up there.
Right. And please don't read it cover to cover at the same time.
Do you think has she ever read it cover to cover?
No, she read like the first 2 chapters and she told me she got emotional and didn't. But she texted me today and said, guess what I'm doing? And I said, what? And she said, I'm reading Hot Tea and Mercy.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yes.
So where does she live?
She's bi-coastal, both Brooklyn and Las Vegas.
Oh,
so
nice.
She's retired now. So
oh, good for her. She's got plenty of time to read the Hot Tea and Mercy now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So your students, you were a teacher for special education, correct? Do any of your students know the books that you've written, the children's books? Follow along?
Yeah, so some of my best and baddest students, they found Black Geisha and they found we know, you know. But being a special education teacher, both in Brooklyn and in Los Angeles, I found that those students were just so unhappy with themselves, self-loathing, low self-esteem. And so I wrote a children's book called You Are a Star to uplift those students and like the entire Black and brown community, you know, and tell them like, you're perfect, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, everything in the world is within you, you know, in the universe. And so and I did a campaign to really get that out to them and to other schools and students. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you can touch on every single genre. You know, children's book. I don't know how rare that is, but it seems really rare to me that you can go from, you know, this feels like this is a woman's book, you know what I mean? Like empowering each other and being there for each other and stuff. And then the children's book and then the erotic book. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think, again, it has to do a lot with different times in my life, you know? I'm always evolving, and I encourage other people to do the same, you know? Like, you can be a hairstylist today and a chef tomorrow if you want to be. And wherever I am and whatever I'm experiencing at a particular part of my life, because I'm innately a writer, that wants to come out in some way.
Yeah.
And I let it. I don't like stifle it. If this is what's happening right now, let's do it.
Yeah, and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And it seems natural to you.
Yeah.
It seems very natural. I love that. And we talked about this earlier, not to box ourselves in. Do you think that's more of like something that we do as women? Box ourselves into like one particular title?
I think women do it a lot more, but I think men do it too. And not only, I think women tend to box, we do it to ourselves.
Yes.
But society does it to everybody. And the problem with both sexes is that we stay there or think we have to.
Yeah.
And then we end up really miserable adults.
Miserable and making people around us miserable as well,
yeah.
correct?
And never really living to our full potential or doing our real passions and finding, you know, our purpose.
Yeah.
So
what's one thing about your writing process that's different to you, or like a quirk? Do you know what I mean? Like something different.
Well, my really good friend Tom Nelson, who's an excellent writer, he gave me, when he found out that I was a writer and we worked together at a high school together, he said, "Oh, you're a writer? I'll give you some good advice." I said, "Give it to me."
Yeah,
you know?
give it to me. Yeah.
He said, "Write 1 word a day." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds kind of like you'll take forever to get something done." He said, "No, just try it." And what happens is authors tend to say, "I'm going to write for 2 hours." That turns into 0. "I'm going to write 20 pages today." That turns into nothing because you can't find the time for that. But you can find the time for 1 word. And once you write 1 word, you write a sentence, you write a paragraph.
It's like it takes the pressure off of it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. When people say like, "I'm going to work on this for 1 hour," and they put that in their schedule, you know, it also feels forced. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't feel natural. It feels, you know, just like a job. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. And that might not be the moment you're inspired.
Yes, the
you know?
juices might not be flowing at 9 in the morning. Yeah.
But there might be, you know, you might be driving or in the shower and you have that idea like, oh, maybe I can, instead of her having 1 sister, she has 2 sisters. And now you're excited and you go to write down she has 2 sisters and you have a whole chapter on one of those.
Yeah, on the other sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So the majority of your inspiration comes from your life. Okay.
Yeah, and not just my own experiences, but the experiences of people that I meet along the way. I love to travel, and I meet tons of people from all walks of life, all kind of experiences, all types of situations, good and bad.
Yeah.
And so and they become part of my life too, these folks that I'm meeting on different continents, in different cities,
so
in different states.
So where have you traveled to?
Oh
Share
my!
that with me.
I've traveled quite a bit. So I'll give you a few. I've spent 4 months in Kenya with the Maasai.
Wow.
Gosh, that was an experience. I've been to Cuba, Japan, Australia. I have tasted kangaroo and wallaby.
Shut up. Did you like it? You tasted it, but did you like it?
So the kangaroo was interesting. I would eat it again, but it's not something I'm like, kangaroo, please, Yeah. But the wallaby was in an aioli sauce, and I was actually in Tasmania at that moment, and that was like, what is this?
Was it delicious?
Delicious.
No way.
Yeah.
Wallaby was delicious.
Yes, exactly.
As a mouthful on its own, just the word, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, and since I was there, I just popped over to New Zealand, and just through Airbnb and through other programs like Workaway, I've been able to like immerse myself in the culture by living with families or like working with families.
Yeah.
I'm not a big resort kind of girl. I don't need it.
Yeah, I would rather have an Airbnb too.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then now you're with locals and they're like, you should go here, you should taste
Yes.
this, you should try this. And you're not eating at fancy restaurants just because you're a tourist.
You're eating at the mom and pop shop down the street that everyone loves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you get a whole different flavor of the culture and a whole different experience than if you're, a resort tourist.
Yeah. So what prompted that, like, that wanting you to travel?
I was in a high school program called Sponsors for Educational Opportunities. And within that program, we had the opportunity to go on a sponsored trip. And so we did an application process. Like I was determined.
I'm going to get this.
Yes.
I want this. Yeah.
And I turned 17 on the plane. It was my first plane ride ever. And I was headed to Botswana, which is in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I spent 5 weeks there. Cultural exchange, family stay, safari, language, and it was amazing. It was the most exhilarating time of my life. The plane ride by itself. They showed me the cockpit. They saw I was scared, and they said, "Listen, let's come here."
Yeah, and it was your birthday. Why not? Show her the cockpit.
Right. And that was in 1998, actually.
Wow.
So it was a different time where they were like when you didn't have to stay out of the galley, so they
security reasons.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah, so I just had an amazing time. I loved the flight, and so flying has never been like a scary thing for me. And I saw my first shooting star while I was there.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so after
that's what sparked it in
I
you.
had a bug.
You're like, gotta go again.
Yeah.
Now, did you pick up any languages on all these, trips that you took?
Yeah, the hard part is keeping languages because you can't practice. But Setswana, a little bit.
I only heard the first part of what you said. Girl. Sorry. Sorry. I was like, say what?
Right.
Say it again.
Yeah. So Setswana is the language of the Botswana. Swahili in Kenya. Little Japanese.
Wow.
A little. I like Spanish and Italian and French. So I've always tried to do that on my own.
Yeah.
But I've been to Italy and Spain, and just.
Where was your favorite place? Like you will go back there again and again.
Everywhere is so beautiful. I think Pisa is a beautiful place, and also Venice. And then anywhere in the Caribbean, Belize, Costa Rica, St. Vincent, St. Martin, all of them. If it has a beach, I'm there.
So is that your favorite place to be, is the beach, like on the sand?
Yes, and that's where I feel the most. I'm a Cancer, so that's watery, that's crabby.
Same with Pisces. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to hear the sounds of the waves. I want to be in the bathtub and anything with water,
exactly.
I'm there.
And that's where I find that I write the best. And so I won't take my laptop to the beach because of the sand, but I will spend a lot of time in my room or wherever I'm staying or on a balcony typing away.
Listening to the sounds of the water, right? It's so beautiful and relaxing. I love it. See, that's why we vibe, girl. That's why we vibe. I felt it on the phone. I was like, I like her. I love that you asked me questions on the phone because no one ever asks me questions. It's always me nosy. You know what I mean? Me wanting to find out everything. So that was really good. That was a good experience. So, out of all the places, so Belize. We have some friends moving to Belize, and I cannot wait to go and visit them there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been very many places. I went to Mexico, I think I told you on the phone. Got my little passport stamped for the first time.
Hey.
I was all excited. What, you want my what? I'm sorry, what? Passport?
Right,
yes,
say it again.
Right. I got that. Yeah. So, what's next for you?
Oh, that's another great question, Chris. Like I said, I kind of write with the idea of having them on the big screen. And so I have joined Women of Color filmmakers.
Nice.
And I am learning how to write scripts, direct scripts, produce scripts, and really just, and especially as women, there are not a lot of us in that industry. And when it comes to women of color, it's like 2% maybe.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm getting the experience that I need behind the scenes to be able to do it myself if I want to.
Yeah, if you want to.
And
or know how you want it done. Do you know
exactly.
what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. And so I would love to see Nella as a film.
Yes.
And I have some other ideas for scripts as well. So in fact, I have a script called We're Not Married.
Really?
And
I like that name already.
Yes.
So, oh my gosh.
We're Not Married is 3 couples who get married on a whimsical high of a holiday weekend, and then 10 years later find out that the Reverend was a fraud, and so is their marriage.
Shut up. That's so juicy.
Yeah. And 10 years of marriage is a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. And so now each couple has the freedom to work it out or walk away.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. So how did that idea come to mind?
So again, my friend Tom Nelson, he gave me the storyline and said, do it. And I was like, what? And he's like, do it. This is yours. This is for you. Oh. And so I wrote it out. He helped me.
No pressure, huh?
Right. I wrote it. He gave me notes. We went back and forth. And now I'm working with 2 women directors, from Synergy Entertainment and Sans Rival Entertainment, and they're going to produce it.
Oh my God, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it and be like, I heard all about it.
Right.
She was on my show.
This is the first time I'm saying it out loud.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it will be an independent film, but we're going to do it.
Okay, so when you do that and you walk the red carpet, you got to come back and tell me all about that too, okay?
Yes, yep.
So writing, which did you find more challenging, writing the script or writing a book?
Writing the script.
Writing the script more challenging?
Yeah, because the book, you get to tell everything. They want to know about the velvety green couch. In the script, they're going to see the velvety green couch.
So you don't have to explain it. Yeah.
Right, but I'm an explainer. I'm a writer. I'm,
Imagination,
right, imagery and all of that. And so they're like, this is too long. Cut it.
Yeah. You're like, what do you mean you don't want the velvety green couch in there?
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, she's sitting.
Yeah.
They'll see
That's all we need
the
to
velvet.
know.
Right. And
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's a little harder for me, but I'm working on it.
That's awesome. We're going to take a really quick break for our friends, and on our break, we're going to have the hot tea book up there for you and where you can get it, okay?
You know what I mean? It's real deep, and I only want to share with y'all like a bird of a bear for y'all. This to all my stepchildren and the homeless youth.
And we are back with Rae Lashea talking all the good stuff, juicy stuff, kid stuff, family stuff. We're just in it. We are in it,
yeah.
Yes. So speaking of family stuff, when you were a little girl, is this what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I always wanted to be a teacher.
And you did it.
I did.
You're like, check, next.
Right. And then I wanted to become a psychiatrist. And so I think going into special education as a teacher kind of meshed the two together.
Absolutely.
And I do a lot of research, and I love studying still psychology, sociology, anthropology, all the ologies.
All the ologies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, sometimes I'm a mixologist, in my kitchen when no one's around. Some kind of ology.
Right, that's ology for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so writing was kind of like a hobby, and I didn't know or think I would actually make it a career.
Yeah.
But I did become what I desired to be, which was a teacher.
And it is a career. It is your full-time job now, correct?
Yes.
A published author.
Yeah.
Give it 5. That's so beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Now I still to make money, write and research and edit for other people, so it's still in the same genre.
Absolutely.
And until I can get that big deal, then that, or create the films, that's what I'll
I feel like it's right around the corner for you. You just have so much energy and juice and vibes towards that creativity. So it's just right there.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not very far at all.
I feel it too.
I hear you. So what did you discover in this journey of becoming a published author that surprised even you? Like it's surprising in this field.
Publishing a book has changed so much over the last 20 years, where most people in the past, those old, Charlotte's Web, things like that, where we see Random House and Penguin Books, they had an agent and they got queried and picked up by the publishing house and things like that. And now we can publish ourselves.
Nice.
So the few books, my previous books, I did self-publishing, and there's different ways to do that. And even that's changed because I still used a company that helped me with a lot of stuff. But I had to pay them to help me publish my book.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'll say this, now people can publish through CreateSpace or Amazon and not have to, they don't have to get a publishing house, but they also don't have to pay a company to do it for them.
So what's the process in publishing your own book from start to finish? Like what, you write it, then what?
Again, it's hard and it's different for everybody. So you write it, you want to make sure it's perfect and get it edited and things like that. And then again, if you go through Amazon or CreateSpace, they have templates where you kind of drop your manuscript in and it kind of formats, and then they put it on their platform. If you go through a publishing company, they will format it for you and then also take care of the sales. I mean, you're still promoting and marketing, but when people order, it comes from their warehouse. Luckily, with this book, and through the help of women of color filmmakers and some other mentors that I had, I was able to get this published through a book boutique called Thought Catalog. So I didn't have to self-publish. I didn't have to pay. This is like legitimately, in the stores, on the shelves.
Was this the easiest way for you to publish through them?
Yes, that was the most professional way and the least amount of work on my end.
Now, the covers of your books, is that your creativity? Do you create that?
So for this one, there was a creative team. And also an editing team. And so they mocked up 3 designs and I got to choose which one. And in fact, I got my friends and family involved and even some social media, like a vote, like which one do you choose? Yeah, so that was
That's
really
a great
fun.
way to pull your fans in and have them they feel like they're part of it. Well, they are part of it and helping you choose it.
Yeah, but for Black Asia, I went through like the stock photography. I went through thousands of pictures before I chose the perfect one for that cover.
Wow.
My illustrator designed "You Are a Star" cover, and for 52 Weeks of Miracles, I did stock photography for the first version, and then a friend of mine said, I have something I want to design for you, and he did an awesome job, and I changed the cover to include.
It's like a team effort.
Yeah.
Do you have an editor for each book?
I edit a lot, and then I have in the past given it to friends to like read through.
Yeah.
For this one, like I said, the book boutique had their own editor, but beforehand I broke it up into like 4 chunks and gave each chunk to a different friend.
To a different friend?
Yeah.
Wow.
And said, I need this edited. So I do have a team of close friends who I trust and love, and they support me, and so that's how.
That's important, and to have friends that are not going to treat you like a chimney and blow smoke up your butt. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, tell me the truth. What am I doing wrong, or what am I doing right, or what can I improve on? So that's great. So you have a team of people that you say, hey, read this. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, and they know I'm like crazy and adventurous, so they get excited in what I'm doing too, and it becomes really fun. Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah.
So for fun, what does Rae do when she's not writing?
Travel and read, which are both fun for me, but I sleep. Like I said, those naps, I love them.
Yeah, because you're a night owl.
Yeah. And, but I like regular stuff, bowling, movies. I have gone skydiving.
Wow.
That was not fun.
So you wouldn't do it again?
I would not do it again.
I will not do it ever, never. No, thank you. I can't even climb the little step ladder here without like getting all queasy and, dramatic. No heights for me.
That was the second scariest thing I did. The first was scuba dive.
See, I won't do that again either. I went too deep with my little snorkel thing. Didn't know.
I didn't get past getting thrown off the boat. And I was like, get me out of here.
So you stayed on the boat?
Yes.
So I went scuba diving and thought I was deep sea diving. I went too far underneath and was taking water in.
Oh no.
And that was it. I was done. Right. Obviously, I didn't pay attention, during like the whole, safety lesson they give you beforehand because I went too deep in the water. I saw some really cool fish while I was down there. I nearly passed out, but that was it. That was it, done. But you didn't even get off the boat.
No, so I have snorkeled before, and like that's cool. But when like with the tank and everything, and I was like in the middle of the ocean, and I said no,
not today.
I really kind of went no, like more like that.
It wasn't peaceful and quiet. No, it was like, look, I like the water from here. From on top, I don't want to go under the water. Yeah. I did it one time, and that was enough for me.
Right, but other things like parasailing, jet skiing, things on the water I like those things. I like nature, hiking, camping.
Have you ever water skied before?
No.
Okay, well, let me just tell you something that no one told me. You have to let go if you fall. Okay, I learned on Big Bear Lake how to water ski with my foster parents. Shout out to my foster parents. But they didn't tell me to let go if I fell.
Right.
So I was like, on the water. But that was super fun, water skiing. Wakeboarding, can't do it. You have to be super strong in your core.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I'm super full in my core. So I can't do wakeboarding, but that's super fun.
Yeah. So when it comes to water sports, I still want to be in a little bit of control. And so things that I'm out of control with, I just kind of shy away from, like those water skis and scuba.
Yeah, when your legs go like, two different ways, yeah.
And I've never been skiing.
Yeah, me neither.
I'll tell you a funny story.
Tell me.
It's embarrassing too.
Sure, definitely tell me.
So when I was a senior in high school, and so this is the semester right after I went on my first trip and got the travel bug.
Yeah.
We had senior activities, and the senior trip was going to go skiing. But the senior cruise, which was just a boat ride around Manhattan, I got drunk. Should I even tell the story?
Yes, you should. Well, you're too far now. So you're already in the rabbit hole.
I got drunk before the cruise, and now I was totally a mess. I mean, it was obvious. Everyone could see it.
Oh, no.
My gym teacher was like putting ice on me in the bathroom. So,
were you claiming to be seasick? I would have been like, it's the water.
I couldn't claim to. I was, you know what I'm saying? It was bad. It was all bad, and they banned me from the senior trip.
Oh my gosh.
So now I couldn't go skiing with them, and so I think I'm traumatized from skiing.
Just the word,
because I got banned. However, I still had that travel bug, and I was like, you know what, Dad?
Yeah.
I need your credit card. Now, I did work, so I said, I will pay you back.
Yeah.
But I booked a flight to England. And while everybody was on their ski trip to I don't know where.
Who knows where, freezing.
I was standing in front of Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace and the Big Ben. So...
yeah, winner.
Right. So again, that travel bug, I just caught it, and I was like, you know what, keep your ski trip. But I've never been skiing. I think there's a little trauma there.
Yeah, you associate that with like being told no, you can't go now because you were, mildly intoxicated.
Right, and like they made an example out of me for the whole senior class.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So speaking of school, what kind of student were you? Like in elementary and junior high? We know about your senior year now, but in elementary and junior high, what kind of student were you?
I was an excellent student. I was the only black student in my elementary school until the third grade when I was joined by 3 others. And so,
how did that feel?
I was always different. So I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I was the only kid who didn't Pledge of Allegiance. And I had to explain that. Only kid who didn't celebrate birthdays. Had to explain that. So I felt like I was always explaining stuff.
Yeah.
But that was also building me a tough skin and an individual personality. I'm standing on my own.
Out of the box.
Yeah. And so, but I've always loved school. I loved my teachers. I always wanted to do well. I listened. I did the work, you know. And I was you didn't give us homework. You forgot to give us.
Oh, you were that girl.
I was that one.
So you were the girl that I probably would have beat up on the playground. Like, why did you say something?
Yeah. I'm like, I'll do it for you. Don't worry.
Oh my God.
Like, give me more.
I'll bring you a Rice Krispie treat tomorrow. Do my homework.
Yeah. So I was like that, and I was in special programs. And I give credit to my mom and my dad. They went out of their way. They drove us far out of our neighborhood so we could go to better schools. She searched out programs for like special or gifted children,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So we did a lot of things that the other kids didn't do. We went on trips that I thought was normal, but it wasn't.
If your mom wouldn't have driven that extra 5 miles, would not have been at your fingertips.
Correct.
Kudos to mom.
Yeah. So education was very important in my household. You know, we were they let us do. We didn't have chores. We didn't have a lot of rules except do well in school.
Yeah.
And so we did. And so and even in high school, I was an honor roll student, you know, so that's why that senior year was so traumatic for me, because I went from like...
You're like, wait a minute. There's one time in band camp, and now I'm fired.
Exactly.
So how many siblings do you have?
So there are 10 of us.
Wow.
From my dad. 4 of us from my mom and dad. And within that, there's 3 sets. So there's the first set, the second set, and the last set of 4. I'm number 8 from total, and the second from my mom.
So there's his, hers, and together, right?
No. There's his, his again, and together.
We need to put that in a book, girl.
Right.
His and his again, and then together.
So at last count, I had 14 nieces and nephews, and I didn't even count, maybe 6 great nieces and nephews. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Are you the favorite auntie?
I like to believe I am, you know, but again, certain things I do that other of my siblings don't do because they don't think, it's not their values like mine. So if a niece or a nephew's saying they're going to take a trip, I'm like, I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
you know, because I
want them to experience that, right?
Yeah, you know, so things like that. So that I'm the favorite auntie for that time, you know. But so and I've always been the one like, let's go to the museums, let's go to the libraries, like lots of like outings with my nieces and nephews. So I don't have children of my own.
So when I want to go somewhere, I'm going to call it Rae.
Right.
And be like, you know, Rae, England, you know, it just sounded so good when you talked about it.
Right.
Pause.
Right. I'll email you some places that you should definitely visit while you're there.
That's right. That's what kind of girlfriend we need to be. Yeah, I'll let you know where to go. Yeah, I wasn't a good student in school in elementary. I was the one that had her desk moved outside the classroom.
Yeah.
All the time, every time. But I think it's just the out of the box kid. Do you know what I mean? And my grandson is like that now too, where he's just he's very smart, very gifted, you know what I mean? But just does not conform to the classroom. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So he's on her radar. It's a good radar, but he's on her radar.
Yeah, that's understandable.
But for me, writing and language arts was my favorite too. And it's funny because the teacher, Mrs. Holler, moved me out of her classroom because I was disruptive. This was in high school, okay? I still didn't know how to behave. I was in high school already. But then she brought me back in. And she handed me, you know, a cue card and said, here you go, talk about this in front of the class for 2 minutes. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. You know, it was challenging, it was exciting. I was nervous, you know, in front of the class, but then, you know, she caught my attention.
And those are the kind of teachers we need because everyone is different. You cannot have a cookie cutter lesson plan or curriculum or way of teaching. And so you have to pull out the strengths of each of your students.
Because what works for one will not work for another.
Right.
You know, what resonates with one kid won't, you know, the other kid's not going to get it. It's our educational system needs a little tweaking. It really does, because it doesn't speak to every child. And then there's those ones that get left behind or they fall through the cracks, and that is your gifted, talented child, you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
So, for the film, what's the next step for your script?
For We're Not Married?
Yes.
So,
I'm so glad. I wanted you to say it. I was like, I want her to say it. We're not married.
We're not, and we don't even know if we should make it a question mark or an exclamation point at this time. Like, we're not married or we're not married.
We're not married. Bye. Boy, bye. Yeah.
So, I'm scouting locations. We are we're also scouting talent. And then we're raising money for the budget. Nice. And that's the biggest thing. Once we have the budget, and it's not a big budget for film as far as films are concerned.
Is it canoe budget or is it boat budget, girl? Which one is
I'll tell you,
not yacht budget, but
I had a scene where it was like a horse and carriage ride through the park. They were like, girl, make it just the park. They're walking through the park. We're not.
He's pulling her in a wagon through the park.
Yeah. So as far as the indie projects go, 20 to 30,000 is like small budget.
Yeah.
Ours is $60,000,
Okay.
which is still small budget, but it's a little more than just your regular.
It's not canoe budget, okay?
Right.
That's all we need to know. It's not canoe
Yeah.
budget.
So
that's exciting.
so that's the biggest thing, raising the money. And once we have that, then we can start filming.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to come back, because you will. I'll find you and talk all about that after you're on the red carpet as the writer, director, producer extraordinaire.
That'll be like so exciting.
Yeah,
so wonderful.
we just met, but I just feel so excited and happy for you.
Thank you.
And I love that you did not stick to just one genre of book. Your children's book, you have an inspirational book, you have a girl's book, you know what I mean? I'm sure the guys can get into it too, but then you have the other one that's erotica that I can't wait to dive into with a cover on it so no one knows what I'm reading.
Right.
With a little light on my forehead like I'm mining for gold.
That's so funny. The wonderful thing about this book and Black Geisha, there are lots of characters in them, and men and women. And what I've gotten as feedback is that I see myself in at least one of the characters.
Yes.
And the characters are just like people, multidimensional. They're messy and they're organized. You know what I mean? They're super they're adept at some things and they're completely inept at other things.
Yeah.
And that's just like us, you know what I mean?
We're so complex.
Right.
And there's so many like dimensions to us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And we don't have to stay in just one dimension.
Correct. I tell people I'm happily miserable right now, or I'm miserably happy right now. You know what I mean? And until I get out of this particular funk, when I'm super happy, then I'm just not that right now.
Yeah.
And
because it's okay to be in a funk.
yes,
It is totally okay to be in a funk. And I love to share with my viewers that like my life is not perfect, you know, because unfortunately like they see, you know, me and you or other people and they think like, oh, they have it all together. Their life is perfect. You know what I mean? They probably, you know, eat on a gold platter. It's like, no. You know what? I found a muffin in the bottom of my purse today that I ate, okay? Because I was so hungry. True story. I don't even know how long that muffin was there, but it was still blueberry, okay?
Right.
It wasn't no fuzzy, you know, green, whatever muffin. But I was like, gosh, I left the house. I'm freaking starving and, you know, I don't want to pull over. I'm going and I'm just digging in my purse. I'm like, well, it's not hard. So
right.
I'm gonna eat it, you know what I mean?
And you're still alive.
And I'm fine. See, I might be a little bit itchy, but I'm fine. My gosh. Well, we could be here all night talking, and I would love it. And I have a feeling you and I are going to be friends, and we're going to just get to know so much more about each other off camera. And I'm excited that you're going to be back for the He Said, She Said.
Yes.
So you hope you're ready for that.
I hope so too.
You will be. We're going to make you ready for it in our break right now. But before we go, can you please tell everybody where they can find your wonderful books and where they can follow you for more?
Oh, absolutely. So you can definitely follow me on Instagram, Rae Lashea. And that is also my TikTok, but I don't do much on TikTok yet. But Rae Lashea on Instagram. And then you can find the book. It's on Amazon. It's at Apple Books and also Thought Catalog. So that's the boutique, and I would love for people to support that.
Thought Catalog.
Yes.
I love it.
And then, I mean, Google will help you find me as Rae Lashea or Rachel Blaze, Black Geisha, 52 Weeks of Miracles, and You Are a Star. So
I love it. Thank you again for being here. I think
Thank
you're
you.
amazing.
You are
and
too.
I cannot wait to hear more about the future of Rae Lashea. Okay, guys, this has been the Crown Peach Show. Thank you for being here with us. If you send me a message or DM me, please make sure you kiss it. Keep it simple, sexy. That's a wrap.
It's how we do. Return to the noise is how we do. How we do. You know it's how we do. Here goes. Kick off your shoes, relax your feet. Keep your iceberg, step tail, bring the heat. Class is in session, everybody take a seat. You got a problem at the class?